offering their selfless service and risking their life to save the lives of the people, like medics, paramedics, drivers, and people who are working in the stores, and those wonderful volunteers who are going out to help the people. You must have seen actually in many of the countries, like in Africa and in India, there are queues which is about 3 to 4 miles long, and this time in many parts of India, the temperature is soaring to 44, 45. And can you imagine these people are standing with their children? Many of the people are walking actually for many miles to reach hundreds of miles on the bicycle or anything. But I'm very proud to say that Sai organization is always in the forefront in any crisis, whether it is present corona crisis, or whether it is earthquake, or it is floods, or it is cyclones, or it is tsunamis, wherever the need is there, these Sai volunteers go there. And the difference between the working of Sai organization is quite different. Mode of operandi is very different. Number one, these people provide the quality service. Number one, they provide a sustainable service. It's not that after a few weeks, when everything is looks better, they all go back to their respective places. Probably you all remember that in the Philippines, Tacloban, and people who were in Sri Lanka, southern India, and Indonesia during the tsunami and earthquake in Haiti, the services were offered for years and years. I conducted the medical camps in the tsunami areas, even after many years, to make sure that these people were on their feet and they were able to get their earnings. And Sai organization not only provided them food, but also provided them the means to earn, and also accommodation, living accommodation. That is what is called quality service. And this is what Swami has always said. Do not engage yourself in the service if you cannot keep your commitment. And thanks to all those thousands of volunteers who do the selfless service without going to any media, television, and everything. So much work is going all over the world, but you have got hardly any mention, because Swami knows that who is doing the work and who is doing. Because Swami has beautiful, I say, to offer the services, you should remember one thing: who gave you this body, who gave you the skill, who gave you the opportunity, who gave you the strength to do the service, and who has provided you with the provisions and material to the service. What are you doing? It is God has given you everything. That is why these 5 things cuts the ego when you are engaged into the service. So I'm very fortunate actually that my first medical camp I did almost 52 years ago. And that particular camp has completely changed my life. And that was also something not as big a problem with like a pandemic of a corona COVID-19, but it was something very different where I started. I think I can share with you that how sometime God create a drama or a scenario, and when you are part of that drama, your entire life changes. I was just completed by medical education and waiting for the orders, because I studied on Army scholarship, and I was waiting to go to one of the military academies for my further instruction, because the 1971 war was looming almost. Probably you all know a new nation has taken birth, Bangladesh, that time, and in the western sector there was a clouds of war was hanging, and at that time many of these army officers and everyone, they were looking at the Swami, and because it was the time actually India was in great deal of difficulty. Just before that, actually, it was about 68. We were all were asked to finish the courses, get trained, so that we are ready to join the armed forces. I was an army medical officer, but just before that, there was a severe drought. I don't want to name the country because I don't want to degrade any country, but the condition was so difficult that probably you can't even imagine. And we were very young, just qualified. We had a senior lecturer from the preventive and social medicine who was our guide and to guard in this medical camp. And when we actually reached that area, I could not believe in the eyes. After getting down from the bus to go to that village, I see the scores of dead animals, skeletons, and the earth was completely, cracked. There is no water. It was a very, very, very severe drought. And large queues about 3 miles, 4 miles. People, they did not even look like human beings. They looked like skeleton. Like, you have seen in the ghost movie a skeleton moving here and there, and they have got this torn shred on their body. You may call it clothes, and such a scorching heat. There were no shoes. And when I reached the feeding center, I was surprised. They were provided CSM. CSM is called corn, soybean, and milk powder. This is supposed to be given to the pigs to get fat, so that when they make the ham, it is very sort of a big pig, they call it. So it has been in many of the Western countries. This was provided for the human beings. Can you imagine? One individual is supposed to get only 4 ounces. Can you imagine? 4 ounces for one person for 24 hours. That too, the person who can reach to the feeding center. But if he has got an old mother and father who cannot come as a child, he cannot get 2 servings, only 1 serving. So there was a lot of sacrifice. Probably mother and father will bring this to their home, and they will share probably just a little, just to survive. And there was hardly any water. I've never seen such a thing at all. During this period, one day I was working in one of the rooms where very, very people who are absolutely dehydrated, the children were malnourished, and it was a scene which probably a newly qualified doctor, I did not expect myself to see, but probably Swami was training me for something different altogether. That afternoon, suddenly one of the young boy from the village came running to me, and he said, "You have to come with me." The only means of travel we were given was the bicycle. I took my bicycle, put my medical bag, took some of the things like glucose and whatever things we had, asked the boy to sit in front of the cycle, and we rushed to the village, which was about 10, 15 minutes. You won't believe the sight which I have seen. I will never forget in my life. There was a little mud hut. There was a lady lying half inside, half outside. She was just given birth to a child. Probably as she has not eaten for many days, completely dehydrated, she was trying to come out for some help, but she collapsed. Child was out, placenta was out, and there was a dog approaching that placenta. Can you imagine? A dog, because he's also hungry, there's no food in the village. It was the nick of the time we reached. Somehow I found a little piece of a stick to ask to just to threaten the dog to run away. The dog was also hungry. At that time, it was not a dog. It looks like a furious tiger looking at a meal right in front of him. And I didn't know what to do. I cannot throw that stick because it might hit that little child was also there. But somehow, with God's grace or all those things, I had the courage with the bike, using it as a shield. I reached near, and the dog ran away. And did not go far away. Still, he was waiting there, and you can see that his sharp canine teeth and with the furious eyes he was looking. The moment he will get a chance, he might jump. And this little boy was holding the bicycle. Then I asked the boy, just go into the village if they can get 1 or 2 ladies. He said, I don't know if we can find anyone. There's hardly anyone. But I said, you try, because we wanted to clean the lady and somehow to look up. To my good fortune and with the prayers, the little child was, the little baby, newly born baby, was still alive. We had the training during our medical school, how to just cut the placenta and everything, whatever means we had, try to clean. Meanwhile, one lady came and she took charge of the lady to cleaning and everything. And I gave her some glucose drink to, so that that lady could have something. And once everything settled down, I just looked at, not far from there, there was a tree and there was a man sitting. And he was laughing. But he did not take part in all these things. He could have easily gone and made the dog run away. But he was sitting there laughing. So I went there and asked him, "Sir, what are you doing here? You could have just offered just nothing, at least save that little child just born." He smiled. He said, "Do you think you have done a good job? You have just done a little bit thing, you call it service, and you may go from here. But can you imagine why this lady is alone? Her husband has run to the next area where they are serving 8 ounces more. And he has decided to stay there, is not coming back, and she's alone. Now, this lady may not be able to go to the feeding center for many days to come. How do you think that lady will make this boy survive? If that child has died, she was unconscious, she would not have known. She did not have extra mouth to feed. You people come, do a little service and go there. And I like to read actually, because I have written this article. He said, can you imagine that he was an educated man? He asked me, if you really want to do the service, you have to plan something. Is that there has to be a planning for nutrition for a long time and promotion of the health program in this disaster area, and make sure that you have not only medicines, but you have got the arrangements for enough food, because in this drought, medicine is not required, the food is required. And also follow up. How many of you people will come back to this disaster area? You will go back to your colleges, get your posting, start earning the money, go into the private services and other things like that. I would like to see how many of you will come back. That scene has completely changed my life. And I really thought that man probably is there sitting in order to guide my life. And I have never looked back. That was exactly 52 years ago. And I had that wonderful opportunity that Swami has taken me in that service, which I think is my lifeline. And I'll come to back to that in same thing, that what Swami has to say, how to conduct the medical camp. I will say that, but after this serious sort of incidents, I would like to just narrate some beautiful incidences with the Swami. I have done a medical camp at many places, but one of the medical camps, which again has given me a different vision how to conduct a medical camp. That medical camp was with Swami in Prashanti Nilayam in 1985. That is Swami's 60th birthday. I'm sure many of you that time probably have the memory of that medical camp. It was Swami's 60th birthday. 60 villages were selected. And not only Swami had the provision for medical camp, Swami wanted the veterinary camp as well. Swami arranged the Narayan Seva. Swami's love for the animal is so much. Every time, if you remember, at the birthday time, before the birthday time, those days there was no railway station. And majority of the people came to a railway station called Dharmavaram. And from Dharmavaram station, we used to take a little tanga that is called horse cart, which will go to the bus stop. That bus will come to Puttaparthi. But during the birthday time, thousands and thousands, lakhs of the people are coming to Puttaparthi. It would have been very difficult for the tangawalas to take these people. So Swami used to arrange the bus directly at the railway station. So convenient, isn't it? So convenient. Bus is there, devotees are very happy. But think about the tangawala, because he is not getting anything from the people who are going, because that was their only earning. But I tell you, Swami's love and compassion. He thinks each and every detail for each and every being in the world. During that period, one of his contemporary and classmate, who I was very lucky to be associated with during this time, his name was also Sathya. He is the young man who used to sit with Swami on the same desks during the Swami's schooling age. So he said, Doctor, Swami, make sure that 15 days before that, he brings all these tangawala and all the laborers to Puttaparthi and gives them the wages twice the amount they probably would have earned during 15 days. with one condition, that that horse should also take the rest. This is a holiday during Swami's birthday for 15 days. And he gives separate money for their, the grass and whatever, horses food is. So this is Swami's love for the animals and for those people who are, Swami doesn't deprive anyone from their breadwinning. So this 15 days holidays for those people, fully paid by Swami. Swami doesn't use the trust money. Swami gives. Satnarayan has told me that Swami used to give this money from his own resources. That is mother's love for the child. So we were allotted 60 villages, and when the list was out there, I was very surprised that I didn't have my name there, and it was a big shock to me. I was hoping, and previous morning, everybody said which village they were allocated, and I was surprised that naturally I was sad, started praying to Swami, that Swami, what have I done that I'm not getting the opportunity? Give any role to me. Swami tests you at that time, how much you remember Swami. Rather than getting upset, start praying to him. He will listen to him. He will listen to you. And my prayers reached to him. And then in the afternoon, I was told by people who were organizing the camp that Swami has decided to have only one surgical camp where eye operations will go. That was in the village of Bukkapatnam. Can you imagine my fortune? The Bukkapatnam is the village where Swami studied. And where we conducted the medical camp was his school where he studied. On the very first day, we were very lucky to see that wonderful register in which the name was written, Sathya Raju, the student of that school. The register is now, it's become something, archive, people keep it and do the darshan. So this is what our good fortune. You wait, do not jump. Swami will give you the opportunity. Don't ask for. Swami knows what is good for you. That was the only place. And it was such a wonderful thing that every morning Swami will come out and he will have 2 coconuts in hand. He break the coconut and sprinkle on us, and he will say, "Go monkeys." We did not realize why he's calling monkey. We all started thinking maybe because we have got monkey minds and other things like that. But on the birthday, he let the secret out why he called us monkey. And every morning we'll go out, finish our work, and then return in the evening. Till the last person return from the sticks, all the 60 village, Swami will not retire. He will be paving in the veranda up and down to make sure that everyone has come. Like a mother waiting for the child, whether they all have come. And I was told that Swami will not take the food till we all have come and taken the food. I had such a wonderful fortune at that time that Swami will, allow you to talk to him. So, he takes all the information, what you're doing. Those days, because I came from England and my, whole concept of operation theater and everything is changed. On the very first day, I was a little bit worried because our instruments were boiled in something which is like a pressure cooker. And Swami saw my worry, and he called me and he said, this is Swami's medical knowledge. What is the fundamental basis of sterilization? So Swami, the sterilization is when the instruments are devoid of all the germs or bacteria. I tried to explain. So he said, yes, and how you do it? I said, Swami, it's a pressurized heat. And what is the pressure cooker? I said, Swami, pressurized heat. He said, it's a question of only temperature. You got a different shape in the operation theater, but it does exactly the same thing. Go and check. Next time, tomorrow when you go there, there is got a special paper where you take the instrument, whether they are devoid of germs or not. I said, no, Swami. I said, no. Practical is practical. You go and check that one. I dare not say that I did check, actually, and it was absolutely fine. Next day, Swami called me and said, in 10 years' time, this place where you're operating in a school, this place had one of the best hospital in the world, where everything will be sterile with the gamma rays. It will be well equipped could be one of the best hospital in the world. And the doctors who try to go to America and England to learn, these doctors will be queuing up to come and work in that hospital. This is 1960. Swami is telling his vision of the super specialty hospital to an ignorant doctor like me, that what is his master plan. This is what exactly Swami's vision is. And this is his love also. We had a wonderful time with Swami. And on the day of his birthday, he let the secret out. And he said, all those people who are present on this 60th birthday with me in Prashanti Nilayam, they were all monkeys with me in Treta Yuga during my Rama avatar. It's the declaration by the Lord himself. And how wonderful it is to know that I was a little monkey, probably running here and there. And again, I've given a chance to be Swami. So that was the thing when Swami will say early in the morning after breaking the coconut, go monkeys. So we were those monkeys. How lucky to be with the Sai Ram again. And also Swami said something extraordinary at that time, that my name is not as old as my body is. This name is from the time when the whole, life is started. Millions here. You may call it Ramayana. And that is, I was a bit surprised because we knew the Rama was in Treta Yuga. And he said, no, Rama is not only Treta Yuga. His Rama comes in every kalpa in a different time. Hanuman comes in kalpa. The story goes on and on and on. So this is unending story which goes on in every kalpa, repeated in the Treta Yuga and the Dwapar Yuga. Krishna's name is repeated, sort of thing. And I was very surprised once I was asked to do a medical camp in a Muslim country. And you would be very surprised that name of the town where I was asked to do the medical camp is Sai Ram, in a Muslim country called Kazakhstan. And the name of the town is, if you look into the Google, it is 3,000-year-old city. Recently, the capital of the Kazakhstan's name is changed. Many of the names have changed once that country was separate from Russia, but they never changed the name of that Sai Ram. Not only the name of the city is Sai Ram, the huge river flows, a long river that is also called Sai Ram. And there is a hill mountain, that is a big mountain, that is called Sai Ram Mountain as well. 3,000-year-old history of the name of the Sai Ram. And we were so lucky to go and work there. And the demonstration of work which we saw there by the youth, I will never forget. As Ramadan is going, it reminded me of one wonderful story of Ramadan that time. The youth nowadays is become a great part and parcel of Swami's mission. Swami has told me that it is very important. As that time I was very young, working with, I've learned so many things from my seniors, and Swami said that has to be there. As you get older, you make sure that you get more and more youth so that you can utilize their enthusiasm, their strength, and their modern knowledge in order to make camps very, very successful. And this incident is so touching. I had a young man, his name is Ozes, O-Z-E-S. He was in charge of the interpreter brigade. Interpreters are very important people in the role of our medical camps because we come from all over the world, as Brother Girdhar has said. We do not know the local languages. So these interpreters go 3 months training in different discipline of the medical. The person who is working with me in the ophthalmology, he has to learn all the names of the diseases and what are the medicines are used so that they do not give the wrong information in the interpretation. The person who is working with the psychiatrist, the person who is working the pediatrician, working with the gynecologist, they all have to go through this wonderful training. And they do it meticulously because they know the master is watching. And you never know, na jaane kis bhais mein Baba mil jaye Bhagwan. Many times it has happened with me that when I returned to Swami in Puttaparthi to give the report, and Swami asked one particular incident, what has happened there. Swami is sitting thousands of miles away in Prashanti Nilayam, and he's asking me what happened at that day to that person. This is what exactly is omnipresence. If time permits, probably I share one of that wonderful story with you. So this boy, it was Ramadan was going on. Temperature that time in Kazakhstan was almost 47, 48 degrees. Whole day, he's a Muslim boy, start his roza very early in the morning, and iftar, the breaking the roza time was about 9 o'clock. At 8:50, we just returned to our base camp, and somebody came running to me that in the nearby village, somebody is very seriously ill, and they require some medical attention. So I asked one of the general physician in our group that let's go and see this. So he said, Doctor, you don't worry about it because it is a general medicine. We'll go there. But I need an interpreter, this doctor mentioned. So the doctor said, I have got the interpreter with me. This GP said he's got an interpreter with me. We need a car. We need a driver. This boy, he is the head of the interpreter division. He could have allocated this job to anyone. He said, why to look for a driver? And my other colleague, he is quite an elderly person who is interpreting for the doctor. Let him stay there, let me go. I said, oh, just in 5 minutes time, it is time of iftar, you have to break your roza. Let somebody else go. He said, no, doctor, Swami has given me this opportunity, let me go. This young man wanted to save 2 people. He didn't want an extra driver and another interpreter. So he said, I will drive myself. So he drove himself. You won't believe, it took them almost 3.5 to 4 hours. By the time they came, it was about 11:30, 12 o'clock. I was still waiting in the camp for this team to return. We drove. I totally forgot about that whether he has eaten anything or not. There was no other transport. And it was roughly about 11:30, 12 o'clock in the night. And past 12 o'clock. So he said, I'll take you to your residence where you are staying. When we reached there, the moment we reached our residence, I just asked, oh, just how about your food? He said, when I go back, I will eat. All this time, he has not eaten at all. I said, no, just you come, we'll make some arrangements. He said, you know, doctor, every day when the time of iftar comes, I normally feel very thirsty and hungry. But today when I was with the doctor and I saw the plight of that poor old lady whom this doctor was serving, I did not even remember that I did not break my fast. As if Sai has filled me with food and water. I was completely hydrated and I was feeling so full. That is what exactly. You may not physically take the food, but when you are engaged in Lord's service, Swami will make sure that he provide that spiritual diet to you so you do not have to worry about anything. That is what love of Swami is. So this is what exactly such a wonderful thing. And in the same place, these people went one day to serve the food like we go for the Narayan Seva. Outside the village, there was a family living in a tin shed. Outside temperature 48. Inside the tin shed, because the hot sun temperature is 52, something like that. And this poor lady, her husband has probably died or something. She has got 7 children. And the youngest one was about 3 to 4 years. There is a beautiful documentary about this. And I will ask whether Girdhar to look for this one, and probably we can watch this beautiful documentary about this thing. These boys, when they went there to serve the food, they realized actually that how they must be living outside village, alone, one family living, just raise some tin and put up another tin, and these people are living there. So they given them the, many of the devotees in United Kingdom, when we go there, they do such wonderful work, something beautiful for God. They prepare such a beautiful clothes, prepare knit, nice blankets and everything. And when we give it to them, it is beautiful, something beautiful for God, Sai Ram. And age is written, and it is for the girl or for the boy. And they are all brand new. And some of them, these people, they sit down, sing the bhajan. And while they are doing this wonderful work, the vibration of the bhajan goes into the clothes. And many incidents, as I heard many of the people when I went to the camp following time, people said, you have given us the healing clothes. The people who had little minor disease that disappear. It's the power of the prayer when you create something on the name of the Lord that becomes a medicine. Whether it is a cloth, it is a handkerchief, or it is a scarf, or it is a sock, doesn't matter. But the power of the prayer goes into that thing. So they were so happy that somebody has taken the trouble for the first time, not only to come with the food, but also this thing. These people, 5 days, they have constructed a beautiful house for these people. They bought the bricks, mortar, and hired these things. Nobody knew. Every day, this group of the people disappeared. Last day, myself and Valerie, we asked them, where do you go? These people, they said, oh, we have taken one individual seva. And that individual seva, when we went there, we found it was a well-furnished house. 15 people worked day and night in order to complete this. And this lady was brought to the medical camp, Muslim lady. She just went to her knees, raised her hand like you do the namaz. He said, I have not seen Allah, but I have seen the messengers of Allah, Sai Ram. That is the word from a Muslim lady. You may preach, you may teach gospel from the Quran or Bhagavad Gita to everyone. People will not understand. But when you talk to them in the language of love, which is in action called service, they will understand the motive. There is a God who looks after the people who have got nobody else. This is the beauty. And, you know, the joy and happiness on the face of these people was so wonderful. He did not realize that we were working in a Muslim country. In the Sai Ram village, the echoes, whole village used to echo when we passed the street, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. That is what such a wonderful thing to you here. He may be sitting in Prashanti Nilayam, but his messengers are working into this village and they become, you know, that wonderful pipe which brings the love from Prashanti and it goes into the individual hearts. In their hearts, there flourishes and blossoms with this beautiful thing which called bliss. They become in the state of the bliss. So this is some of the things which I have encountered. And during this process, I was so lucky that my master, Swami, has once asked me that I should learn how to serve. He said, Swami, who could be the better person than you are? I was very lucky, actually, that for my medical, the camp, Swami, like a teacher, you know, the person who is not very good in his class, he has got extra class because he has been detained. Other people who are doing very well, they can go home after 5 o'clock to their home. The person who is not doing very well, I was one of those person, not very doing. You have to sit down with the master. And in those early, Swami will sit down in the interview room, 1-to-1, and he has told me how to conduct a medical camp. And if I can read actually, that Swami's wonderful things that how you should conduct a medical camp, that is something so wonderful that he has got a consideration for each and everything. If I go to the list, actually, it may become quite long, but his main, I just summarize the thing. What he wanted to do when we do the medical camp, make sure that you do not become the burden on the host. You make sure that you pay for your own travel. You make sure you pay for your hotels. You make sure you pay for your food every day. Make for all the provisions. You do not, because they have called you to serve the poor people. And the host is already under great deal of pressure, arranging, contacting the local authorities, contacting the people. Can you imagine some of the medical camps have roughly 200 volunteers? And suddenly if 200 volunteers come to London and ask them, we want to do something, where would we find the accommodation? So they have to make all these arrangements. Transport for all these people, because we are working in the different villages, everybody has to go. We need so many volunteers, interpreters, pharmacists, medicine and everything. He said, do not take unnecessarily medicine from England or America. because once you finish the medical camp, these people may not find the same medicine, so they may not be able to get the full and correct doses. So you make sure you buy the things locally. There are two advantages. Swami's vision of economics is fantastic. He's got two reasons. You unnecessarily go and argue with the customs that we are doing the medical camps, that you use my name and all those things. Don't take unnecessary things. Buy the things locally. It helps the local economy. Also, when you are medical camps, all your local daily use things like soap, brushes, toothpaste, whatever you require, buy from the street dwellers. Buy from the small shops. Don't send a volunteer in a car to the big town to get all these things. It is waste of petrol, waste of a person's, volunteer's time, and you will pay more money. Save that money. Do not stay in the big hotel. It is a sadhana. Stay in the village, whatever accommodation. Many of the times we have stayed, many of the people who have attended the medical camp, I can see them on this group. They remember some of the times we have stayed in the orphanages, which has got no toilets. In Russia, especially in Siberia, there are no toilets. You have to go outside in close winter. Can you imagine? Temperature in Siberia falls to minus 30, 40. There's small children, they have to go outside their room for the toilets, and it is all snowy, and it is nothing, just two holes on the wood, and these little children. And when they come, no geyser, how they wash their hands. That is what exactly Swami send you to see, that how lucky you are, that everything is there, hot water. If you're feeling cold, can you put the heating on? Or radiator is a little bit cold, can you just raise the temperature? These people have to live in that condition. It's not that you go and help them, you go and learn from them how to live. The basic amenities were there. No doubt about it. Swami has got another motive behind it. When you see this sort of things, your heart melts. So we started renovating these places, build the toilets for them. Sometimes the medical, we have got a team which is called Building Brigade. While we are doing the medical things, these people try to renovate these orphanages, the schools, and give them such a beautiful things with the hot water running and attached toilets with the building, so that these people do not have to go out into water. This is Swami's love reaching through us to these people so they can get little comfort. This is what the whole scenario is. It's not that I am going to do a lot of things. No, I just become the best to see what Swami does through us. That's what exactly. And when you come and Swami say, I know everything, because Swami describes everything as if he himself is there. Is the wrong word to say, as if Swami is always there, no doubt. Without his presence, nothing can happen. So this is so wonderful actually to see that, and also the Swami says that when you are there, you make sure that all these camps, when you go there, it is sadhana, it is not luxury. Don't stay miles away in a luxury hotel. Have a good night's sleep, get in the morning, have a nice breakfast, that the bus comes and brings you. It is waste of time to travel from hotels to that village. Try to stay in that village. You will develop that community feeling with the villagers. Try to interact with them to find out what they are. Exchange, sing the bhajans, and most importantly, start the camp with prayer. Finish the camp with the prayer. Not loudly like singing the bhajan, quietly. Do not forcing their religious beliefs, but have quietly. So like we do some 3 Gayatris and 3 Sai Gayatris in the morning, and then same thing in the evening when we finish. Surprisingly enough, one day I forgot, because there was something has happened. I was busy in a meeting. When I came, the patients were already there, and I was in the room. My interpreter was surprised. We called the first patient. He's a Russian gentleman. He walks, sorry, it is a Ukrainian gentleman. It is one Ukraine. The Ukrainian gentleman, he walks in. You won't believe how Swami reminds you of the prayer. He says, Doctor, I want to show you something. He spoke in very good English. So I said, yes, sir. He took out a lingam. And he said this lingam was materialized by the Swami and in one of the interviews given to him. So I said, I thought you were a patient. He said, no, forget about my wife. Is not well, but I wanted to show you. And you know what Swami asked me to do? Swami asked me to do the Gayatri every day. With the Shivalingam Gayatri, I forgot to do the Gayatri on that day because I was late. Swami will remind you if you make him in charge if something is not right. Can you imagine why that person was the first person to come to my room to remind me of the prayers? And what a wonderful vision of touching that lingam which Swami has materialized himself for him. Then I told that gentleman, of course, that lady had a very serious condition, no doubt about it. So I did not realize, because I wanted to give him a news that there is no medicine or technology to cure what her problem was. But having that link, Swami has put this thing to my mind. I simply said to him that do one thing every day, do Ling Abhishekam and ask her to drink that lingam water. She will be fine. So that wasn't, because what can you do if you do not have certain things? Because you have to sometime, it is very easy to tell, sorry, I can't cure. This is exactly giving somebody a negative vibration. Where you are not able to do something, do not break their hopes. At least give them some hope, not a false hope. Swami said, do not give a false hope to the people, but give a string which they can hold, because there is a doctor knows only as much as they have learned into the books or their experience of 30 years, 40 years, and whatnot. They do not know each and everything. We did not know one day that one can transplant the heart. You remember when I was in the medical college, if somebody asked me, somebody's heart is failing, what would you do? If I say, change the heart, I would be thrown out of the medical school. But now it is normal procedure. Heart transplantation is there. That's what exactly God knows the best. But if you tell them, yes, there is no cure for this. This is Swami says, be honest, right conduct. He said, follow in the medical camp the 5 basic values: love, peace, righteousness, and truth. Do talk to the people lovingly. Tell the right things, but not bitterly. If you have to tell them that there is no cure for this condition now, but there is a possibility new research may be there. Meanwhile, hold on to your faith, whatever faith, whether you're Muslim or Christians or Buddhist, hold on to your faith. One day it is maybe possible, but don't lose the hope. Because if you tell somebody that you're going to be blind in 1 year, can you imagine what will happen to that old lady who is 95 if you told her that she will be blind in 1 year? She may not live 1 year, but when she goes home, she will start getting blood pressure because, I'm going to be blind. But 1 year is a long time. But if you can say, okay, I will see you again in 3 to 4 months' time, hopefully you will be all right. She goes with a hope. You have given the same message to her, but there is no need to tell. Doctors are not going to tell them that what is going to happen after 1 year. I have seen so many incidents actually where it is written onto the papers that this cannot be cured and probably you will be blind or you may not be there after some time. But this is not the way the Sai medicine works. Sai medicine works with the right conduct, give the right information to the people, but with the hope that there is a great deal of power in the prayers. And once you have put those prayers, that will be really one of the things which has got a great deal of healing power. Prayers have got, in Hindi they say, dawa se jada asar dua mein hota hai. That is in English what that means. There is more power in the prayers than it is in medicine. That's what exactly it is. Because the prayers really create that positivity in your heart, in your mind, and you get that strength to fight with the diseases. And the rest is up to the grace of the God, according to your Sanchit Karma, whether you will fight the disease out or the disease will fight you out, whatever it be, according to our Sanchit Karma. This is what is most important. How much time is Brother Girdharj? Can I take another story?
I was going to ask you to touch upon a couple of things, if
yes, go on. Yeah,
don't mind. So one is, I'm sure as part of your for your medical camps, you would have had a lot of whom we would classify as a non-devotee, or let's just say someone who didn't know about Swami before the medical camp, right? How did what has been their experience? If you can narrate one of their experiences following and post a medical camp, the impact of all this love and everything else that you have described, I'm sure that would have had a huge impact on some of those people. So that's one question for you.
Yeah.
And the second question is, if you can also talk about your interactions with Swami directly. I remember that one incident about the Uti where you had a medical camp, or after the medical camp in, I think in Shirdi, if I remember correctly, where the team of doctors
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah.
everyone, you
Yeah.
all drove to Uti.
Yeah.
Interaction that you had with Swami. So those two things. So one is the interaction with Swami, and the other is, with on the non people who didn't know about Swami.
I think I'll go with the interaction with the Swami, because that is very, for this time, there's something in that thing Swami has stated very profoundly, which really gives us great deal of strength, how it works, the Swami's grace work. That was medical camp was arranged in Shirdi, and after there's something extraordinary happened during the Shirdi medical camp. Actually, if I can touch upon that, how a non-devotee feels about it, then we will go about that Vibhuti incidents in Prashant. While we were in Shirdi, Swami's one of the instructions was us to that not to display his photographs and during the medical camp, like the banners you put, medical camp arranged by Satsangh organization. That was number one, and number two, not to say Sai Ram to everyone. Very difficult thing actually. That has become even in the hospital here. When I am in the hospital, people call me Sai Ram doctor, because I say to Sai Ram to everyone to create that wonderful vibration in my examination room. So say not Sai Swami said, I am sending you to work, not to publicize my work. And you won't believe, we had such wonderful people who are in our group. Probably you all know Mr. Dikshit, who director and producer of Shirdi Ke Sai Baba, a great musician. His daughter is a great singer, Jyotsna, and father-in-law of Raja Reddy himself. He was the main coordinator for the medical camp, and the health minister from Maharashtra. He was the chairman of Shirdi Sansthan. So at this stage,
Can I ask you, sorry, which year was this?
1987.
Uh-huh.
So 86 and 87, something like that. So it was an extraordinary sort of a thing, great musician in the group and everything. So we came, and it was really very difficult for us not to say it's item, but there was a reason for that one. So during this medical camp, one of the days, one day, one of the priests approached Mr. Dikshit, and he asked, sir, we are not able to go to the medical camp because we have to take care of the mandir and Aarti, Kakad Aarti and other things, and all those people are coming. Is it possible that Thursday afternoon, after the Kakad Aarti and before the afternoon function start, you can conduct the medical camp in the mandir? Can you imagine? In the mandir, in front of the Samadhi. Shirdi Baba's, those days, sitting in that hall was such fantastic. And there were two side corridors, if you remember when we are used to stand. Nowadays, they have got a different system. And so we arranged that medical camp. So they brought their family and everybody there. It was so wonderful. And by the time we finished, it was getting the time just about the evening art. So he requested, actually, why you don't people sing the bhajans? So we all said that we don't all know that the bhajan which is sung for the Shirdi in the Shirdi. They say, no, people come and they sing Kavali and everything. You can sing anything. And can you imagine? Mr. Dikshit is playing the harmonium, and then people. I have never sung before in my life, and I'm not a singer. You won't believe that the first Ganesh bhajan, they put the mic in front of me, and I didn't know what to do. And the first time in my life, I sang Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam. Thanks to Swami that he put the word in my mouth, and I don't know how did it go. At the end of this thing, we sang about 9 bhajans, and when the bhajans finished, this priest got up. You won't believe, Swami told us not to say Sai Ram. This priest got up and he says Sai Ram. Swami has made the bridge between Shirdi and Patni. He gives them that sort of vibration. What do you feel about the service given what do you feel about devotion of singing and all those things? And that evening, a young man, about 20, 21 years of age, he was my last patient. I saw him. He had some problem with his eye. His lid was drooping. And he said, I need this lid to be corrected. He said to that young man, you could have come 3, 4 days. I could have operated easily. It was not a very big operation. But according to our master's instruction, I'm not supposed to operate just day before we are leaving. In 2 days' time, we are on the Ram Navami days. All the people, it is just together. It is just before the Ram Navami, and our plan was to finish by Ram Navami, and we were supposed to go to Bhopal to conduct another medical camp in Bhopal, and then go to Uti. So I told this man, Swami's instructions are not to operate because we won't be able to do the follow-up, and if something goes wrong, his name is involved. You won't believe what he said. He said, why fear when he is there? A person who is not Sai Baba's devotee, he is one of the young priests from Shirdi. I had no option what to do, but still I was a bit worried what to do. So in my one of the instrument, I always keep a little picture of Swami. I made 2 slips and put in front of him. I said, if my Lord say yes, I will operate. If not, I will not. And I was praying very hard to Swami. Swami, let him pick no, no, no. And Swami had his own plan. He picked up yes. And I had no choice. So this was small 30 minutes operation. Luckily, operation theater was not closed. Then we did the operation next day for him. And following day, I was supposed to go. So I told him that we are leaving about 4 o'clock in the morning. You make sure that before you go, you collect a letter from me. I will give you a letter from one local doctor, Kulkarni. He can take the stitches out. So I will come and see you at 4 o'clock in the morning, because we were all supposed to leave about 8 o'clock after the breakfast. So I said, I'll get up. When I came where we were staying, there was a chaos. The chaos in the sense, actually, that everybody was busy in packing the things. So the entire accommodation was changed into a storage sort of a room. All the instruments, all the medicines, whatever left behind were packed properly. And some of the ready-made boxes, which is already packed, were put into the rooms. And the room which I was sharing with a gentleman actually from London, he's no more, but God bless him. His name is Praveen Balsara. He was my roommate. Our room, they put some of the boxes. So I didn't have any place to room. So somebody told me, look, there is another room, nobody's there. You can go and sleep. We will wake you in the morning. And I went. I did not know which room I was. You won't believe, this is Swami's grace, that just dot, I could not get about 4 o'clock. 10 past 4, I heard a knock on the door. I just got up and looked at my watch. My goodness, I'm late. I wanted to run. I opened with the knock of the door. This young man is standing there. At that time, I could not realize. I said, why you're here? I was about to come. He said, no, one gentleman came. He woke me up and he said, he's very lazy. He won't wake up. You better go and show your eyes to him so he can remove. I had my bag, so I just washed my hand, removed the bandage, redid the dressing, wrote a letter. And at this time, I was slightly more awake. Suddenly I realized I did not know which room I was. How did he know which room I was? So I asked him, sir, can you tell me who told you which room I was? He said, that man who told me in the hospital, he brought me and he pointed at that room. And he said, there he is. Can you imagine? This is what is his love and compassion. He makes sure all the work has to be done as should be. And he is there for you. And he narrated this story to me, that this is your, make sure that you do not leave anything behind. If you did not go and see that boy, what would happen if you not given the letter? It is not your name. He doesn't know who you are. People come for a very different reason, because it is done with the greatest of, effort to make the 100% surety and guarantee that everything goes according to the plan of the God. So God himself becomes sometime, one of the volunteers to do these things. So we traveled back thank to Swami, came to Bhopal after finishing the medical camp in Bhopal. We came to uh, uh, Bangalore, and from Bangalore we were supposed to go to Uti, and on the way to Uti, one of the cars broke down, and three cars we were all in about four cars, and we realized many of our friends, they were supposed to return next day because their leaves, because it was a big camp. Three camps were all together. One was in Segar, another was in Shirdi, and a third was in Bhopal, and then we came for Swami Darshan. Originally, we knew the Swami was in Whitefield, so we thought we have Swami Darshan and next day. Now we have to go to Uti. We wanted to have just one darshan in the evening and come back. But because of this breakdown of the car, we have no way to proceed further. So other people suggested that it is their karma that their car has broke down. Why should we wait for them? Let's go, and they can follow whenever their car is repaired. I remember Swami's word, unity. I said, no, we will not go, we'll all stay. We have done everything together. We have traveled together, so there's no way we must travel together. So they were not very happy about this. It took roughly about 2.5 or 3 hours. This man could get some help to get the car ready. And by the time we reached and we arrived, you won't believe. The scene was everybody was running with their bags and their luggage and everything. Whatever taxi or transport they got, they were just got into that and they were proceeding. I asked one of the person what is happening. Before we could unload our luggage, our taxi was engaged. I asked this gentleman, what is happening? He said, Swami is going early morning to Kodaikanal. We had a shock because that was the evening darshan. We were too late. Evening darshan was over. I still remember this was Thursday. And we asked if there was an accommodation. Somebody said it is very easy now. If you come in the morning, all the accommodations are free. Even if you paid $100, you would not have got a room. But now everything is empty. You can get an S number of rooms you require. So we stayed in a place where we have a few rooms, it's like a hostel. We had a little bath, prayed to Swami. And I had difficulty to face my colleagues because everyone was so upset because they missed the darshan. So we said, look, we still have got time. If we early in the morning before Swami's leave, we go and stand in the queue, we will be able to have Swami's darshan, and hopefully Swami will bless us, and then we can take a taxi and go back to Bangalore and you can fly. They were not very happy, but we had no choice. So that was the thing. So we, early in the morning, because this was first time we were in Uti, so we climbed up in the hill and we went up. To utter surprise, we realized we ended wrong way. To Swami's accommodation, there was a fence and there was a revolving small door. And this was used only by the students come down to the village to see Uti. Rest, everyone has to go in front where a big gate is, main gate, we call it. The moment the Sevadal saw us reaching there, they came running to us and he said, no way that you can stand here. Go back. Can't you see that people are there on the other gate? They are waiting for Swamis to come out. We told them, sir, if we go back to the village and climb back that again by the time Swami will go, let us stand here. We will just have a darshan and we will not create any problem. You know, it is very easy to please Swami, but it's not easy to please Sevadal. He will not listen. He said, no, you have to go down. What can we do? That day, there was no mobile phone. There was nothing what to do. Send a message heart to Swami. We all held our hands together and started praying Sai Gayatri. 9 Sai Gayatri completed. And as we want to turn, one of the students came running and he says, who's Dr. Upadhyay? So I said, he said, oh, you can bring your group and sit where the Swami's car is. We could not believe our ear. Just finished 9 Gayatri and Swami's has heard our, cry from our heart. We all went and sat down. Probably you remember, we had a wonderful couple called Dr. Ejiman and May Ejiman. May Ejiman told me when we were walking up there that she had a dream that Swami will give the interview. I told her, don't tell anyone. I had enough. We missed first darshan. If we tell these people as Swami is leaving, the car is there. Swami is giving an interview, and if we did not even see the Swami, they will kill me. Poor lady kept quiet. So Dr. Ajiman was sitting first, I was sitting next, and rest of our group. And in all his love and compassion, Swami came. And the eastern sun was up. Swami, as if Swami was literally coming out of the sun, gliding towards us. He came, stood in front of Dr. Ajiman, materialized the Vibhuti. And Dr. Ajiman has bought a Shirdi Sai Charitra book, and he was so much engrossed in the book, he did not look that God was standing in front of him. He did not even look up. So I nudged him, Doctor, and he looked Swami. Swami materialized the Vibhuti and put on his forehead, Santosham, Santosham. I'm very happy with your work. And then he asked, how many of you? I could not believe my ears. Swami asking, how many of you? I did not remember. I don't know what I said. And Swami said, you don't even remember? Donapattu or something like that in Telugu means buffalo. You don't even remember how many of you? Go in. Can you imagine? Swami is ready to go to Kodaikanal. He heard our prayer. This is power of, if you remember Swami's word, unity. We were united together. The Swami has changed his blood, and we had 90 minutes interview. Just to cut short the whole story during this 90 minutes, so many things happened that Swami knew exactly what has happened. But the two things I would like to mention here. One of the incidents was he asked one of the doctors from Wales, an English doctor. He said, sir, there was a lady, old lady came to you and you asked her to go and have the X-ray. Why? So the doctor said, Swami, I thought, which lady you saw me? I've seen hundreds of patients. How can I remember a lady? Swami says, close your eyes. He closed the eye, and Swami describes this lady, absolutely skeleton, thin and emaciated. This is a medical word Swami is using. Wearing a white toned sari with patches of blood onto the sari. She was almost coughing blood. And this man opened his eye. Yes, Swami, I remember. I thought she has tuberculosis. Swami said, you thought she has tuberculosis? This lady was a picture of tuberculosis. I said, doctor, what do you need? She has lost so much of weight due to the disease called tuberculosis. She was vomiting blood because her lungs are melting. And another thing, if you just simply put your hand on her back like this, Swami turned my face back towards him and put his hand. What a wonderful touch of the Swami, and started doing this percussion. When you percuss the back, you will feel that she has got a cavity. And if you forgot that, put the stethoscope. Swami just pretended that he had a stethoscope and put again his palm on my back, and he said, you will hear the sound of rails in Ronkai. Swami, from the spiritual master, has become professor of medicine, teaching a doctor from England how to diagnose tuberculosis. And he said, what else you require these things? She was the full picture of tuberculosis. All this basic examination would have revealed that she has tuberculosis, and you can write her the pass Isonex and ethambutol. He gave the medicine as well at the same time. He said, if that lady had the money enough to go for the X-ray, she would not have got the tuberculosis in the same place. And he turned back to me and he said, whenever you go next time, make sure if you need some investigation, be prepared for that investigations to be arranged locally. Do not put pressure onto the patient to get the things done. We'll get stunned that Swami is sitting in Uti and he knew exactly what was happening there. That is we call, he is an omnipresent sign. Then he turned to our pharmacist and he asked, what is the difference between chocolate and medicine? But in his knowledge, our pharmacist said, chocolate is sweet, Swami, and the medicine is bitter. Swami said, have you ever taken Sudafed syrup? And if you all know the Sudafed syrup, it's quite sweet. This fellow has no answer. So I just told this man with my eyes, don't say anything else. Because whatever you say, it is not going to be right. When the God is there, let Swami give that. We said, Swami, we don't know. Swami says, if you have got 10 bars of chocolate with you, you break those 10 bars of chocolate and give to each 20 people. If you've got 20 people in the room and you break the 10 bars into 20 pieces, you will sweeten the mouth of all the 20. But if you've got the medicine for 100 people, if you divide into 200 people, not a single person will get the benefit of that medicine. So you just treat only those 100 people. Otherwise, you will unnecessarily create the resistance by giving half the dose. These people are not going to come back to collect again. They come from long, long distances. At that time, I asked Swami, if we don't give them something, they feel very unhappy. What shall we do? Swami says, treat 100 people and rest, leave everything to Vedyo Narayana Hari. I am the Narayana in that Vedya who is treating, not you. Do you mean to say you go and see about a few hundred or thousands of patients? What happened to the people before or after your medical camp? What happened to the little deer and the rabbit in the jungles when they get hurt? Who treat their fracture? Who treat their wound? Vedyo Narayana Hari. He put his hand on his chest. I am there to look after their according to their Sanchit Punya Karmas. How to satisfy them, Swami? Swami said, just give my vibhuti there. That will take care. At that time, I said, Swami, many of these places where we go, they have not heard even your name. How can the vibhuti will work? We take the vibhuti with great faith and the prayer, Paramam Pavitram Baba Vibhuti, Paramam Vichitram Baba's Vibhuti. Swami said, that is not the case. You just touch the vibhuti on the body of that person or give if he takes it. Rest I will take care. I asked Swami, how does it work? Swami said, you are an eye doctor. I said, yes, Swami, with your grace. So he said, what happened if you were a kidney patient? I said, Swami, I refer that patient to the kidney doctor. How do you refer? Swami, I give the card or write a letter. Then what happens, Swami? That patient takes that card or the letter. Then what happened to the patient? Swami, it is a responsibility of the kidney doctor because it is his. In the same way, the moment my vibhuti touches somebody's forehead, it is my responsibility. I will take care of that person. What a profound declaration by the avatar himself. This is the power of the vibhuti. Brothers and sisters, when you take the vibhuti, I can assure you that if you have got full faith or touch somebody with your faith to that person, Swami will take care of that person. That is something so important. Brother Girdhar has reminded me of this incident, so I thought I will share with you. Brother Girdhar, do we still have time or?
So maybe I was thinking of closing this at 4:30, if that is okay. So maybe 10 minutes more. I had, so there was one question that I asked you about, what we call a non-devotee, someone who not previously known about Swami. So if you can talk about that one thing. And then the second, I've had a question come in. So someone asked, how do you see the current coronavirus situation from a spiritual perspective? And what is the best way for us to be useful to the society in these times? So maybe the first, the non-devotee question very briefly, and then this one very briefly, if you don't mind, Doctor.
How long I have to, because this non-devotee question?
I was thinking, can we close in maybe 10 or 15 minutes?
Okay. So I can touch briefly about this non-devotee, actually, how he turned to. There are so many incidences, actually. Non-devotees that turn into the Swami's devotee, but I'll give you one of the example, actually, which is directly, related to me because I became Swami's instrument in this is called 3-second transformation. When I used to work in the Harley Street, I had my teacher and my partner. His name is Professor Arnott. He was one of the most eminent eye surgeon in the world, not in United Kingdom. He became the pioneer of bringing the small incision cataract operation in this country. This fellow is fabulously rich, very handsome, and had the most beautiful wife from Russia who came as a ballet dancer. And ophthalmology was his passion. He did not work the ophthalmologist for the money, but it was his passion. But there was only one problem. He knew that he was the best surgeon. He knew that he has got everything God has given to him. So he had a great deal of that pride into that. And he did not care who comes to his office. one of the thing was that he will make the people wait, not 10 minutes, 15 minutes, hours. That's what his problem was. And on the second, and I learned from the Swami that time is energy, don't waste the time. I tried my best that sometime to talk about Swami to him, but his time was not right. But suddenly, actually, once he was about for going for a conference to Chennai, he came to my room and he said, I want to see Singh Baba. He could not even pronounce Sai Baba's name, Singh Baba. So I said, you can't go and see him. You really have to pray to see him. He said, no, Pope has invited me, and I went there and I had a wine with Pope. And what is so difficult you can write? I said, no, that doesn't work like that. Somehow I could not convince him, but he really wanted to see. Suddenly that urge, he went there, and I tried to ring Brother Srinivasan that it is possible, but it was not his time to see Swami, and somehow it was not possible. So he came with more that sort of a feeling that how could I not see him? And he said, you make all the arrangement. And then super specialty hospital started, and during that period, Swami, that there was a request that eye department should move into the super specialty hospital. And those days they used to do the old style cataract operation. And Swami really was very worried because these villagers go and they have to come back for the removal of the stitches. Swami wanted to give the best technology to the poorest people. So he wanted to bring that phacoemulsification, small incision cataract operation there. So when I heard, I offered Swami, can I bring Professor Honor? Swami said, I wanted to pay my Guru Dakshina to this doctor that I learned from him. So he said, yes, you can bring. And I'm very happy, came back and gave the news to him. And this fellow was so happy that he's going to cut the story short, actually. Just before we were going, a week before, I saw that a lot of drink, Shiva's Regal, and Johnny Walker, and whiskey, and cigarette boxes on the table of my secretary in the clinic in the Harley Street. So I asked, what is this, Joy? I asked the secretary. He said, oh, you told him that there is no pubs or no drinks there. So he's taking his own supply with him. I said, no, you're not allowed to take this into ashram. He said, you better ask him. So I asked him that you're not allowed to drink in the ashram. He said, I drank with Pope. What are you talking about? It will be all right. That's no problem. I said, no, you can't. I started. All this time I was praying that I should bring him. Dukas Relly, that time, was the UK chairperson. All this time I was praying that I should take him to Prashanti Nilaya. But now I started praying that he should not go because I was so scared that if anybody sees in the ashram that I brought a person who has got the drink, it will be very difficult. He didn't know anything about this. And so somehow we decided actually that try to convince him, but he will not listen. Just 2 days before we are supposed to leave, he asked me, how about my visa? So I said, I was not supposed to arrange your visa. You're supposed to arrange your own visa. He said, no, you are arranging the trip. You have to arrange the visa. And he told me that his wife and the nurse who will assist him for that operation. So I was very worried. Actually, next day we are going. And I was so happy as well that now he doesn't have the visa, so we cannot go. So I thought probably next day I will inform Dukas Relly so he can inform Prashanti Nilaya that because of the visa regulations, this gentleman cannot come. So I just was about to finish my work, and suddenly I heard a knock on my door in my clinic in Harley Street. And you won't believe, I was very surprised. Dr. Singhvi was the High Commissioner of India. He was standing there with his secretary. I said, Namaste, sir. So how are you? Yeah. So he said, oh, I heard that you are going to India and I had some eye problem. So I just rang your secretary that you are going. Probably I can fit you in. So I said, I'm just going for a few days. I could come. He said, no, because I have got other plans as well. Can you imagine? Swami said the High Commissioner of India, day before we are leaving because of the eye problem. Look at his drama. His drama starts if he wants some non-devotee to change into his devotee. So I examined him. There was not a serious problem. Prescribed some medicine. And he said, anything I can do for your trip to India? And then the secretary was standing at the door. He said, His Excellency, this Professor Honor does not have the visa. He said, what? Don't worry about it. I will arrange that. He went to the High Commission and with his, secretary. Same day, within half an hour, I had a special diplomatic letter without visa, can attach with the passport and can go. Can you imagine? That is only being the person who did not. So, to cut the story short, following day, 2 days later, we came to the airport, and Swami says, "Don't waste money." So I had the 4 tickets, including me, with the economy class, and I showed the tickets to him. He looked at the ticket and threw on the floor. He said, "Economy class? I have never traveled even a club class. Go and book me in the first class." He gave me his card. I said, "Fine." So I went to the counter, customer's counter. Most of the people knew at the Air India counter those days because there are not many flights were there to India. They don't like my face at the Air India counter because they always know that I'm coming with a problem, requesting that I've got a lot of medicines. Can they give me extra luggage, this and that? So he said, "Dr. Upadhyay, I don't have force today. We are very busy." I said, "No, it is a different issue." I was very confident. I had American Express. I said, "I want these 4 tickets to be converted into first class." He said, "Not today. It is impossible. We have got a Japanese delegation going, so there is no way we can accommodate anyone. If you want tomorrow, everything could be done." I said, "No, this is very important. We are going to Puttaparthi. There is a scientific program of, so we have to be there." They will say, "Very sorry, Dr. Upadhyay, this time we cannot." And I came and told that Professor Arnott, no first class ticket. He very happily said, "Okay, fine. I'm going back. We will come tomorrow." Can you imagine Swami's program is just, back to back. You cannot change anything. I said, "No, sir, you cannot change. We have to go." He just literally, with his wife and one of the senior nurses, turned. At that time, there was an announcement. And then Dr. Arnott report to the customer's counter. So he said, "Go, they're calling my name." So I went to the customer counter. He said, "Dr. Upadhyay, you won't believe. We just got a call from Bombay, our headquarters. They said, leave 3 people and get those 3 people on the first class." So I thought probably it's me, his wife, and the doctor himself. "No, not you, the 3, the nurse, the doctor, and his wife. These people travel in first class." Can you imagine? And when they got down in our flight, those days there was no direct flight. We have to change in Bombay. And then there's a small plane. And it comes in very odd time, roughly about 2:30 or so. When we landed and coming out of the airport, I have never seen a scene like this. There are 2 air hostesses, beautifully dressed in Indian things, garland in their hand and with a harati, standing there for this Dr. Arnott. I thought there's a great confusion here because nobody knew that we are coming here. We thought probably that a Japanese delegation was coming. This is the reception for the Japanese delegation. But then I thought he doesn't look like any Japanese. He is a tall man like a Rock Hudson. So there is must be there some confusion. Then he turns to me and he said, "Look, Singh Baba is arranging all this beautiful welcome for me." And then he was taken to the Maharaja lounge. I wanted to go with him. They stopped. They said, "No, you're economic passenger." He said, "Oh, he's with me. All this time I'm arranging and I travel in economy class. They travel in first class and I am standing outside the Maharaja lounge." Somehow we came to Bangalore. And in the Bangalore, by the time we came, it was 4:30 in the morning. He was a bit tired. So he just put a bombshell on me. He said, "I am not going to Puttaparthi now. I'm very tired." And he, the Alcon group of the people who were arranging this phaco emulsification machine, they came to receive us. He told him that his name was Mr. Srinivasan, not our Chennai Srinivasan, the different one. And he said, "Can you arrange a hotel for me? I want to go and rest. I will have a swim and then we'll go." He was very particular about swimming. I said, "So not, we cannot delay. We have to go now." He said, no, you come and meet me at 11:15, 11 o'clock, we'll go." I've got no choice. These people went to Hotel Taj, stayed there. I went to the Alcon office and just lie down onto the settee there and nearby bathroom, had a bath, did the prayer. My mind was in Puttaparthi. Once you are in Bangalore, what are you doing? You're wasting your time in an office. Somehow 10:30, I just reached. For the first time, this gentleman was in time. He was ready. Swami's grace. We got into taxi and we just rushed. I told the taxi driver to drive fast because we just wanted at least have a Swami's afternoon darshan. Just near Chikbalpuram, he said, "Oh, I want to have some coffee." So I had to tell some sort of a manipulative truth to him that Mr. Honor, the coffees on the street is not very good. I didn't want to stop. Then he will go to bathroom, then he'll coffee. 3 people, they will prepare the coffee. It will waste another hour. I told the driver, go straight. We went there. And thanks to Dr. Agarwal, probably many of you know, the one who does the Sanjeevani, he was involved in this arrangement of receiving us. He was waiting in Ganesh Gate for us. My worry was that in the car, we had all his drinks and cigarette packets for his wife. And this car will go inside. Those days when the bhajan is started, they will not allow any of the cars to enter. So they stopped. So Dr. Agarwal was there, and the moment we came there, his wife took these 2 ladies from the ladies' side, me and Professor Honor, we came. When Swami is in the, Swami's darshan is already started, everybody's eyes is on the Swami. The first time I saw that people's eyes turned toward this man in such a hot weather, this gentleman is wearing 3-piece suit, entering in the Prashanti Nilayam, colored 3-piece suit. Everybody was thinking who this man is. He came, and here and there he's looking for the chair. He never squatted down. There was no chair. Dr. Sathya was there. He realized, and probably those people who remember great Chiranjeev Rao, he used to sit by the pillar with his leg hanging there. There's a little platform there. Dr. Sathya realized my difficulty, so he just requested and him to move. So he, with a great difficulty, could sit there. Swami probably realized that this man won't be able to sit. He cut short his, darshan. Very sorry for the people who were waiting all this day, but he came and straight came to him and said, "So you have come," and immediately asked me, him, to go for the interview room. Straightway, we went in the interview room, and then he called, I think, 2 Russians also came. So we were 4 or 5 people there. Swami was still at the door, and Professor Honor saw this chair, Swami's chair there. He thought there is a chair. He wanted. I said, "Please, this is Swami's chair." He said, "Oh, you can fetch another chair for me." I said, No, this is so ignorant. So I said, "No, this is Swami's chair. Nobody touches that chair." So he's standing by the wall, and Swami comes in and realizes his plight. Swami goes to how Swami's, hospitality is. The moment he came in, he switched on the fan and he told him, "Oh, so you have come, sit down." And he somehow tried to sit as quick. He said, "Don't worry, you can stretch your leg." He's a tall man. From the wall he was sitting, his feet were almost touching Swami's cushion. I sat near Swami's chair by the cushion, and I wanted to tell Swami about his drink and the cigarette, but Swami will not listen. He said, "Keep quiet." And then he said, "How was the journey?" He said, "Swami, thank you very much for the journey and all the reception." So you like it, all the garlanding and harat. My goodness, Swami is narrating all the things which has happened. And I'm thinking, yeah, Swami, I've been praying all this time that trip should be cancelled. And on the contrary, and this worry was with me that if, Swami comes to know, or the Central Trust come to know, or say whether that he has got the drinks and other things, I will be in deep trouble. And I wanted to just take out from my heart, but Swami will not allow me to speak. Swami just, second time I tried to speak, Swami just slapped me and said that you keep quiet till I say to open your mouth. No choice, Swami. Inside me, I told you, Swami, what is my problem? And then Swami says, "How are you?" So very shy. And Swami has got such a great word to use. He said, "You are a kind man. Now work for the mankind." This is a mantra he gave him. You are a kind man. Now work for the mankind. And at that time, Swami materialized a ring with a picture of Om for that Russian boy. But instead of giving to Russian boy, he literally tossed that ring to Baba. This gentleman with his leg stretched and both the arms on his chest like this, he has to catch the ring. So he just caught the ring. And Swami says, "What is this?" So the Prophet said, "Oh, this is that some Indian spiritual symbol I have seen in Major's room." He used to call me Major. And I had that picture of Om and Swami's picture in my clinic in Harvest Street. So Swami says, I'll tell you what it is. All the Western world and the scientists think the whole world is started with Big Bang. You know what this Big Bang? That Big Bang is Pranava. Say with me. Swami says, say with me. He was holding that ring in his hand. He says, say with me. Om. The moment the word Om came from his mouth, you won't believe his legs went in, hands got folded. All this time he was calling Swami sir. He said, Swami. And Swami just nudged me. He said, don't worry about his drink and cigarette. I know all about it. He will not bring it in. And he will stay in the ashram. This fellow was making the plan that he will go to every day to Bangalore after finishing the work and start early in the morning to start operating. Can you imagine those days roads and traveling every day to Prashantinidiyam to Bangalore, how difficult it would be. But Swami has resolved the problem. And then he asked me to ask Swami that his wife should also have Swami's audience. Swami says, I will see you and your wife tomorrow. With that assurance, we both came out, and that Swami told Dr. Sapaya that take them to the hospital so he can have a visit of the operation theatre and everything. Me, Dr. Sapaya, and Professor came to the Ganesh Gate. And at Ganesh Gate, we are waiting for that car to come in. But the professor told me, no. He asked the driver, you come alone. He asked the driver that bring the luggage and keep all the drinks and cigarette for himself. This fellow, the driver, never had the tip. Almost more than 150 pounds, 200 whiskeys and whatever he brought from Harrods, all given to the driver. And he said, don't worry about it. I'm not going to stay in Hotel Taj. I will stay in the ashram. So Dr. Agarwal very kindly arranged a room for him in Prashantinidiyam. So we went to that room, basic room, two palangs, two carts there, a fan and a electric, but that's never inside. So somebody helped us to bring his suitcase, and another room was given to the nurse. The moment we entered, his wife saw two things: a cockroach on the floor and a lizard on the wall. She had never seen. She almost screamed. Can you imagine what the prophet said? He said, my dear, we are in a spiritual land. We have to learn to live with all the creatures. A man who has never stayed less than 5-star hotel without a swimming pool, never traveled in economic class. Now he's telling we have to learn to live. This is what exactly we have to learn to live with present circumstances. What is God has given to us. So this is what a non-devotee has turned into Swami. Next day when I went to fetch him, same night I went there and bought some kurta pajama for her and Punjabi for the wife and for the nurse so that they are comfortable. Next morning when I went there, about 5:45 to take them to the mandir, you won't believe. He was standing in another beautiful suit, 3-piece suit. And I asked him, why you are standing? I took so much trouble to get you this pajama kurta. I said, why should I change? I should be what I am. Swami wants what you to be. Do not, and I have never worn pajama and kurta. Why should I change? I am going to see the master of the universe. I should wear my best suit. When I go and see the queen, I will wear my best suit. And here is I'm going to see the master of the universe. A person till 24 hours did not know anything about what Swami was. This person has put that thing. And that's what exactly. And when we entered with that suit, Swami also commented on the suit. Beautiful suit. So this is what exactly the person is, that whether you are devotees or non-devotee, if you have got that sanchit punya karma, time will come. God will recognize your work. He has done a lot of good work, no doubt about it. But he had this sort of a pride in him that even if the prince or the king or anybody come, he will make them wait. So that sort of a personality he was. But he totally said, ever since he has come back to England, from that day, their evening, night thing, before they go to bed, they will read a chapter from Sathya Sai Speaks. And today, if anybody who lives near the Camberley village, there is a 500-year-old church, actually. I've got a picture of that church. I can't remember the name of that place, but it's very close to the Camberley. That church needed a renovation. And when the priest approached the Arnott family, because they are quite fabulous ladies, that they wanted some renovation, they wanted some sort of contribution from them. He said, no contribution. Do whatever you like. I'll pay for that one. He contributed the full entire amount. And when it was at the completion, the priest came to him and asked, sir, shall I put a plaque on your family's name that you were kindly restored? He said, no. If you can do something, I'll be very happy. And he said, what? He said, if you can do on one of the stained window, if you can say, love all, serve all. There's only one church, 500, or Borden is the name of it, I remember. Borden is the name of the thing. I'll send the picture to Girdhar, he can circulate to the people. And still there is one church which bears Swami's wonderful message, love all and serve all. This gentleman got his lifetime achievement award in San Diego, and I accompanied him. You won't believe that when he received his award, what did he say was amazing. The Vice President of America was there, and all the dignitaries and all the most scholarly people and all the great ophthalmologists there. He got up and he said, I may be very great surgeon, wonderful surgeon, no doubt about it. But I met the man who is walking today on this planet on his 2 feet, incarnate, a love incarnate in the form of God called Sai Baba. He has changed me from a man to a proper human being. And he has taught me a lesson, love all, serve all. That is what exactly how Swami transformed the people in 3 seconds. So Brother Girdhar has asked me to just, and at this day and time, the last question on the Corona, the prayer, not only for yourself, prayer for others as well. This is something which is happening to change our psyche, to change our individual thinking. All this time, really, we were going haywire. We did not have time for ourselves to think about it. It is a great, we get all sorts of problems in the world, tsunami and other thing. It is happening somewhere else. The gas disasters in Bhopal, so many people died, we've forgotten. Then after that, we got Chernobyl, we have forgotten, and all those things, because it did not touch us, because it has touched all of us. We start thinking, what a great disaster. We feel very sorry for the people who are lost their life, and many people are losing their life. But this is a lesson to us why. You have to sit down and think, contemplate why this is happening. Did we go out of the line what we should be doing? And if we have gone off the line, God has given us time to put it right. This planet Earth really has been tremendously tortured, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. There has to be a reaction. And that reaction could be in the form of anything. It could be earthquake, it could be tsunami. Now it is a small little virus, which is small, so small that you can't even see under the ordinary microscope. It has brought each and everything to stand still. But in that stillness, you have to think about it, why it has happened. And when everything comes to normal, have we changed at all? That is what the message Swami is giving to us. Prayer not for yourself, but prayer for the whole world. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Think about those people. And if you have got capabilities, volunteer yourself. There is a procedure. How can you volunteer yourself? Help the people to bring the medicine, provide, do their shoppings. There is a proper training and registration form that many of our Sai organization people are already doing this work, not only in England, but all over the world. Best thing is that keep the distance, no doubt about it. Social distancing, we call it, but have a social connectivity, heart to heart. And this is a wonderful way of connecting every one of us. Brother Girdhar has given this opportunity to us so that we can have this satsang. And one of the things which Swami, I like to say before we finish, let us pray to our Lord. Oh dear Sai, unite us in your infinite love to serve all and love all. Jai Sai Ram.